in here.
Welcome back to the mystery that just keeps getting darker. If you thought the town was going to give the residents a breather after the absolute devastation of Jim's death, you haven't been paying attention to how this place operates. This is your nerdy show, and I'm your host, Spoiler Master. We are diving straight into Season 4, Episode 3, and honestly, the tension is becoming physical. Last time, we saw the aftermath of Jim being found in the barn, a sight no one is going to forget anytime soon, and that cryptic message about knowledge coming at a cost. We also saw Ethan venturing out to the RV, guided by what looked like the ghost of his father, telling him to find something called the Lake of Tears. This episode picks up right in the thick of that grief and confusion, and it feels like the township is starting to shift its tactics from physical jump scares to a much more insidious form of psychological warfare.
This place took advantage of both of us.
Fatima, Elgin, and the growing darkness. We start off at Colony House, where things are beyond awkward between Fatima and Elgin. This is the first time they've really been face-to-face since that absolute nightmare in the cellar with the birth of Smiley. Elgin is clearly trying to keep his distance, probably out of a mix of guilt and pure terror, but Fatima shows a surprising amount of grace here. She stops him from leaving and suggests they just try to be normal, or as normal as you can be in a place like this. Elgin is practical though. He brings up Boyd's ultimatum. Remember, Boyd threatened to pin Tilly's murder on Elgin if he breathed a word about the monster baby. Elgin suggests they get their stories straight so nobody notices any holes in their narrative, but Fatima, being the heart of the group, shifts the focus to their mental health. She points out that the town has basically hijacked both of their bodies and minds for its own twisted purposes. It's a heavy moment because it reminds us that while we're looking for clues, these characters are living through a level of trauma that should be impossible to survive. There's a bond forming there between them, born out of being the only two people who truly know the horror of what happened in that cellar. And as we see later, this bond leads to a very strange request from Fatima that has me questioning everything about her current state. The ghost of Abby and Acosta's breaking point. Meanwhile, Boyd is struggling with his own demons. He has this visceral nightmare about his wife, Abby, and that horrific day she went on her shooting spree. It's a reminder of the inception theory she had, that the only way to wake up from the dream was to die. It makes you wonder if Boyd is just processing his own trauma or if the entity running this place is intentionally feeding those memories to him, especially since he's dealing with Acosta. When Boyd goes to check on her, Acosta is in a bad way. She's the one who recently lost it and drove the ambulance in circles, nearly getting everyone killed. She tells Boyd she felt like she lost control of her mind, which is a recurring theme here. Is the town puppeteering her? Or is she just breaking? She's at the point where she just wants to skip the struggle and go straight to the end. Suicide. It's a mirror to Abby's journey, and you can see the fear in Boyd's eyes as he realizes he's watching history repeat itself. He's trying to be the sheriff and the savior, but he's also just a man who couldn't save his own wife from this exact brand of madness.
Here, I know it is. There's more to this. There's more to what we need to know.
Jade's frustration and the cost of knowledge. Jade is, predictably, handling things in the most Jade way possible, by losing his mind over a theory. He's trying to figure out this resurrection angle, but his brain is hitting a wall. He's meditating, he's pacing, and when Boyd drops by, Jade is so high-strung he actually asks for LSD. He thinks a chemical shortcut might help him see the patterns he's missing. Boyd, being the voice of reason, shuts that down immediately. The last thing this town needs is Jade on a trip while they're being hunted by literal monsters. Boyd tries to get him to attend the funeral for Jim and the pastor, but Jade refuses. He knows Tabitha doesn't want him there after his comments about reincarnation, so he decides to head into the woods instead. Boyd warns him again about the knowledge comes at a cost message, but Jade has never been one to play it safe. He's a man driven by the need to solve the puzzle, even if the puzzle ends up swallowing him whole. A souvenir from the dead and a crow's omen. Back at the infirmary, we see a really unsettling moment with Sophia. Christy and Murray are prepping the pastor's body for burial, and Sophia asks for a moment alone with her father. Now, we know she's actually the yellow suit man, or at least being inhabited by that entity, so her grief is a total act. Once the doors are closed, she pulls a tooth out of the dead pastor's mouth. It's incredibly creepy. Is it a souvenir? Is it a component for some dark ritual? The idea that she can use parts of the deceased to puppet or influence the living isn't out of the question in this place. The funeral itself is just as bleak as you'd expect. Boyd is trying to give a respectful send-off, but the ceremony is interrupted by a massive murder of crows. They are loud, aggressive, and clearly a bad omen. It's like the town is mocking their attempt at a human ritual. The residents hurry through the burial, and the feeling of being watched and hated by the environment itself has never been stronger.
We need to find the Lake of Tears. The Lake of what?
Searching for the Lake of Tears. In the aftermath of the funeral, the focus shifts to Ethan and Victor. Ethan is still obsessed with finding the Lake of Tears that Ghost Jim mentioned. Victor, who usually knows every inch of these woods, admits that there is a lake, but he hates it because it creeps him out. That's saying a lot coming from a guy who lived in a cellar for decades. Ethan manages to convince Victor to take him there by promising to explain why it's so important. When they finally get to a body of water, they find Jade floating in it like a weird piece of driftwood. He's trying to use sensory deprivation to unlock his memories. But Ethan tells him this isn't the Lake of Tears. This leads to a fascinating conversation about the power of the Matthews imagination. Ethan points out that Tabitha's drawings of red boulders turned out to be real. He wonders if the Lake of Tears is something he created, or if it was something the town planted in his head long ago. It brings up the terrifying possibility that the Matthews family has some sort of latent ability to manifest parts of this world, or that they were chosen to be here because their minds are particularly loud to the entity.
Do you tell her that all of the bad things started happening because we came here?
No.
Sophia's social engineering. Sophia is busy sowing discord elsewhere. She's talking to Kenny, asking about when the town got so hostile. Kenny mentions that things took a sharp turn for the worse when the Matthews and Jade arrived. He's not necessarily blaming them, just stating a timeline, but Sophia takes that and runs with it. She talks to Julie and basically twists Kenny's words to make it sound like the whole town blames the Matthews family for their suffering. It's a classic move to isolate the newcomers. If Julie feels like the town hates her family, she'll pull away, making her much easier for Sophia to manipulate. Julie is already on the edge, especially with the crows cawing, which she interprets as the birds celebrating her father's death. Sophia is playing everyone like a fiddle, and the fact that she wants to move in with Sarah, another town pariah, is even more concerning. She's gathering the broken people of the town, likely to use them as tools for whatever chaos she has planned next. Fatima's strange new habit. Then we get to the most bizarre reveal of the episode involving Fatima. Ellis takes her to the junkyard to let out her frustration by smashing cars, which seems like a healthy enough outlet. But when they get back, Fatima lies to him about taking a nap and instead goes to find Elgin. We see Elgin has been busy fulfilling a task for her. He's built a giant mound of dirt in a room, and Fatima looks at it with this sense of relief. It's incredibly unsettling. Think about it. She's been eating rotten food, she's tasted blood, and now she needs a bed of earth. It's leaning very heavily into vampire or undead lore. In many legends, a vampire needs to sleep in the soil of their homeland to maintain their power or rest. If Fatima is turning into something like the monsters outside, or something even worse, the township has successfully corrupted the one thing that represented hope, her pregnancy.
Will that tree take me back to the lighthouse?
I don't think so.
The bottle tree and the boy in white. Tabitha is still determined to find a way out. She's convinced the bottle tree is the key, even though Victor's father, Henry, tries to stop her. He's terrified because he knows his wife died trying to reach that tree. But Tabitha is desperate. She thinks the lighthouse is the exit. When they get to the tree, something unexpected happens. The boy in white appears. But he's different. Tabitha notices he looks older, which shouldn't happen to a ghost. When she asks if the tree will take her to the lighthouse, he says he doesn't think so because the rules have changed. This is a huge piece of information. It suggests that the township isn't just a static prison, it's an evolving system. If the architect of the place realized people were using the bottle tree as a back door, they simply closed the door. It also hints at a conflict between different entities. If the boy in white is trying to help but can't because the rules changed, who is changing them? It makes the yellow suit man / Sophia seem like they might just be one player in a much larger, even more divine or demonic game.
He kept them all in a little blue bag. They should be together.
Blue bag.
Randall steps up and Jade finds a shortcut. In a surprising turn of character, Randall actually helps Julie. She wants to go back into the ruins of their old house to find a book she thinks will help her story walk more effectively. Randall, who has seen how much physical pain storywalking causes her, tries to be the voice of reason, but eventually realizes she's going to do it anyway. He risks his life to go into the unstable wreckage and retrieve her bag. It's a rare moment of selflessness from him, showing that even the most abrasive people in the town are being bonded together by this shared nightmare. Meanwhile, back in the woods, Victor sees the yellow suitman's clothes, and it triggers a total breakdown. He's so terrified he actually wets himself, which is a heartbreaking reminder of the childlike trauma he carries. As they try to calm him down, Jade spots a cluster of mushrooms. Given his earlier request for LSD, you can practically see the gears turning in his head. He's looking for a way to expand his mind, and in this town, those mushrooms are either going to give him the answers he seeks or end his life in a very painful way. Boyd's last stand and the hand from the grave. The episode ends with a chilling confrontation for Boyd. He's tried to give Acosta a reason to live by making her use her cop brain to investigate the storage shed as a crime scene. He's trying to keep her busy so she doesn't follow in Abby's footsteps. But then Boyd goes to Abby's grave to talk to her, to vent his own soul-crushing doubts. As he's pouring his heart out, a hand bursts from the soil and grabs him, trying to pull him down into the grave. He manages to fight it off, but the message is clear. Whether it was a hallucination or a literal physical attack, the town is telling Boyd that his time is running out. The fact that he fought back shows he hasn't given up yet, but the Lake of Tears and the rules changing suggest that the old ways of surviving, the talismans and the walls, aren't going to be enough anymore. The township is moving into a new phase, and as the episode closes, you can't help but feel that the cost of the knowledge they're seeking is going to be higher than anyone is prepared to pay.
You told me it was the only way.
It was, but that was before.
Our nerdy thoughts. That is a wrap on a truly unsettling episode. If Fatima really is turning into something that requires a bed of earth to sleep, and the rules of the town are changing fast enough to baffle the boy in white, I don't think anyone is safe. Not even the people we thought were protected by the trees. What do you think is going on with that mound of dirt? Is Fatima becoming a new kind of monster, or is the town just playing one massive trick on her mind? And more importantly, do you think Jade should actually eat those mushrooms? Let me know your wildest theories in the comments below, because at this point, nothing is too far-fetched for the township. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our recap of episode 4. We'll be right back here as soon as the next piece of the puzzle drops. Until next time, stay safe, keep your eyes on the woods, and whatever you do, don't let anyone pull you into a grave. Thanks for watching.
Victor!
Victor!
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.